Have you ever wondered if peace is more than just a feeling? What if I told you that while you are in deep prayer, your brain is actually physically rewriting itself? Right now, inside your skull, a silent transformation is taking place that science is only just beginning to decode. Welcome to Lumen Peace, where today we are peeling back the veil between the spiritual and the neurological. We aren't just talking about faith, we are looking at the hard data of the soul. Stay with us because what we found in the frontal lobe might change the way you look at the universe forever. The human brain is the most complex structure in the known universe, a web of billions of neurons firing electrical signals at every moment. For decades, scientists viewed prayer as a purely subjective emotional experience, something that happened in the heart but had little to do with the physical machinery of the mind. However, new breakthroughs in neurobiology have revealed something startling. When a person enters a state of deep, intentional prayer, the brain doesn't just relax, it shifts into an entirely different gear. Using advanced imaging like fMRI and PET scans, researchers have observed that the prefrontal cortex, the area right behind your forehead responsible for focus, logic, and decision-making, begins to glow with intense activity. It is as if a spotlight is being turned on. But here's the mystery. While the front of the brain is waking up, other parts are starting to go dark. Specifically, the parietal lobes, which help us navigate space and define where our physical body ends and the rest of the world begins, start to quiet down. This creates a biological sensation of oneness, a blurring of the lines between the self and the divine. You aren't just thinking about peace, your brain is physically losing its sense of isolation. This isn't just a psychological trick, it is a measurable, repeatable physiological event. We are seeing the science of peace in real time, where the brain moves from the chaos of daily stress into a structured, harmonious frequency. But what happens when this internal harmony begins to clash with the stress hormones that usually dominate our lives? The data suggests that prayer acts as a natural shield, but the mechanism behind this defense is more aggressive than we ever imagined. Science has discovered a specific chemical reset button that is pressed during these moments of silence. If we can map this, we can find the key to ending chronic anxiety. But there's a darker side to the brain's geography that prayer must overcome first. A tiny almond-shaped part of you that is currently trying to keep you in a state of fear. Do you feel that shift in your own mind when you close your eyes? Deep in the center of your brain, a battle is being fought between ancient survival instincts and a new kind of evolved tranquility. We are about to dive into the fear center of the human mind to see how prayer literally deactivates the alarm system of the soul. Are you ready to see what happens when the amygdala goes silent? Deep within the primitive layers of your brain sits a tiny almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your body's internal alarm system, the command center for the fight or flight response. In our modern, fast-paced world, most people live with an amygdala that is stuck in the on position, constantly scanning for threats, deadlines, and social pressures. This chronic state of high alert floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, keeping your heart rate elevated and your mind clouded by anxiety. However, the science of peace reveals a remarkable countermeasure. When you engage in deep, focused prayer, the brain sends a direct inhibitory signal to the amygdala. It's essentially a cease and desist order for your stress response. Neurologists have observed that consistent spiritual practice actually shrinks the gray matter density of the amygdala over time. Think about the implications of that. Prayer isn't just a temporary escape, it is a physical remodeling of your brain's fear center. While the amygdala is being quieted, the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of the brain associated with empathy, compassion, and emotional regulation, is being strengthened. This shift creates a neurological buffer against the world. You are literally training your brain to choose peace over panic. But this is only the beginning of the chemical transformation. As the fear center dims, the brain begins to release a cocktail of wellness chemicals. We are talking about dopamine, which provides a sense of reward, serotonin, which stabilizes your mood, and oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. In the context of prayer, oxytocin creates a profound sense of safety and connection to a higher power. You are moving from a biology of survival to a biology of transcendence. Scientists are now asking, if prayer can shut down fear and boost happiness, what does it do to our perception of time and space? There's a specific point in deep meditation and prayer where the self seems to vanish entirely and the brain enters a state that some researchers call absolute unitary being. But there's a catch. To reach this state of total peace, the brain must perform a daring feat of neurological gymnastics. It involves a specific gatekeeping mechanism in the thalamus that determines what information reaches your conscious mind and what gets filtered out. What happens when the brain decides to filter out the entire physical world? We are about to explore the God spot and the mystery of the parietal lobe, the moment where the wall between you and the infinite finally crumbles. If your brain can turn off your sense of physical boundaries, where do you actually go during prayer? The next discovery involves a complete shutdown of our orientation in space, leading to an experience that science struggled to explain for centuries until now. Are you ready to go beyond the physical limits of your own skin?
To understand the most profound moments of prayer, we have to look at the top back part of the brain, a region known as the posterior parietal lobe. In the world of neuroscience, this is called the orientation association area. Its job is incredibly demanding. It must constantly process sensory information to give you a sense of where your body ends and the rest of the physical world begins. It is the reason you can walk through a door without hitting the frame, and the reason you feel like a solid, individual entity sitting in a chair. Without this area functioning, you would be physically and spatially lost. But during intense, focused prayer, something extraordinary happens to this specific region. It goes almost completely dark. When the flow of sensory input to the parietal lobe is blocked by the deep concentration of prayer, the brain can no longer define a boundary between the self and the other. This is the neurological explanation for the feeling of being one with the universe or connected to the divine. It isn't just a poetic metaphor, it is a functional reality. Because the brain can't find the limit of your physical body, it concludes that you are, in fact, limitless. You lose the sense of being a fragmented individual and start to experience a state of infinite expansion. This is where the science of peace becomes a bridge to the infinite. This deafferentation of the parietal lobe is what allows the person praying to lose track of time. Minutes can feel like seconds, or hours can pass in what feels like a heartbeat. You are stepping outside of the chronological flow of life and into a state of eternal now. While this is happening, the brain's language centers also begin to quiet down. The internal chatter, that constant narrating voice in your head that criticizes, worries, and plans, finally falls silent. This is the peace that surpasses all understanding, a state where words are no longer necessary because the experience is total and direct. But this leads us to a fascinating question. If the brain is quieting its sense of self and its sense of time, what is it building in their place? Recent studies suggest that as the old structures of ego-driven thought dim, a new network begins to emerge, one that is far more resilient and powerful. It's a network that doesn't just respond to the world, but actually anticipates a positive future. We are moving toward the discovery of how prayer can literally slow down the aging of your brain cells. What if the secret to longevity isn't found in a pill, but in the frequency of your thoughts? In the next part, we are going to look at the telomere effect, the shocking evidence that spiritual practice can actually protect your DNA from the wear and tear of life. Do you want to see how peace can actually keep you young? While the mental and spiritual shifts of prayer are profound, the science of peace goes even deeper, down to the very microscopic building blocks of your life. We are talking about your DNA. For a long time, we believed that our genetic destiny was set in stone, but the emerging field of epigenetics is proving otherwise. researchers have begun studying the impact of chronic stress versus chronic peace on structures called telomeres. Think of telomeres as the protective plastic caps at the ends of your shoelaces. They protect your chromosomes from fraying. Every time a cell divides, these caps get shorter. When they get too short, the cell dies or malfunctions, leading to aging and disease. Here is the breakthrough. Science has discovered that the deep physiological state of peace achieved through prayer can actually trigger the production of an enzyme called telomerase. This enzyme acts like a cellular maintenance crew, repairing and lengthening those protective caps. By quieting the brain's stress response and flooding the body with restorative chemicals, prayer creates a biological environment where your cells can actually stay younger for longer. You are not just praying for your soul, you are essentially sending a repair signal to your genetic code. Furthermore, this state of peace impacts the vagus nerve, the longest nerve of the autonomic nervous system, which connects the brain to every major organ. During prayer, the vagus nerve is stimulated, lowering blood pressure, improving digestion, and strengthening the immune system. We are seeing a total systemic alignment. The brain's frontal lobe directs the heart to beat with more coherence. The heart signals the gut to relax, and the gut sends signals back to the brain that all is well. It is a feedback loop of biological harmony. But this raises a final, even more mysterious possibility. If prayer can change our brains, our chemicals, and our very DNA, can it reach beyond the individual? Scientists are now investigating intercessory effects and the strange phenomenon of brain-to-brain synchronization. We've seen what prayer does inside your head, but what happens when two or more people are in that state together? We have explored the rewiring of the mind, the silencing of fear, and the protection of our DNA. But the final piece of the puzzle is perhaps the most controversial and exciting. It involves the resonance of peace, the idea that your brain's peaceful frequency might actually influence the world around you. Are you ready to see how your internal peace could be a literal force of nature? In the final stage of our journey into the science of peace, we move beyond the individual biological machine and into the realm of the collective. We have seen how prayer lights up the frontal lobe, silences the fear-driven amygdala, and even repairs the protective caps of our DNA. But the most staggering evidence comes from the study of brainwave synchronization. When people engage in shared spiritual intention, their brain frequencies begin to align. This is known as neural coupling. It suggests that the peace you cultivate within your own mind doesn't just stay there. It radiates outward, creating a literal field of resonance that can influence the atmosphere of a room, a family, or even a community. This is why the mission of Lumen Peace is so vital. We are not just sharing information, we are building a frequency of tranquility in a world that is increasingly loud and chaotic. By understanding the neurological mechanics of prayer, you gain the power to consciously navigate your own biology. You are no longer a victim of your stress hormones. You are the architect of your own internal cathedral. Science and faith are not enemies. They are two different languages describing the same magnificent transformation. When you close your eyes to pray, you are initiating a high-tech biological reset that prepares you to face the world with a clarity and strength that is literally written into your gray matter. You hold the key to the science of peace. Every moment of stillness is a step toward a longer, healthier, and more connected life. The data is clear. Your brain was designed for this connection. It was built to seek the infinite. As we continue to uncover these mysteries together, remember that your internal peace is the greatest gift you can offer to the world around you. It is a force of nature, a biological shield, and a spiritual gateway. If this journey into the mind has opened your eyes to the power of your own potential, don't let the transformation stop here. Be a part of our growing community of seekers and peacemakers. Please hit that like button to help this message reach those who are struggling with anxiety, and subscribe to Lumen Peace for more deep dives into the intersection of science and spirituality. Together, we are decoding the light within. Thank you for watching, and may your mind find the harmony it was always meant to possess.